in your work with families, what are some other hurdles or experiences, or maybe, that you've heard of as to why families might not save when their children are young? And how can they address that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think what I'll talk about. A lot of experiences with my clients and certain families. Certain families, when you sit down and you're going to do financial planning with them, they're just talking about education, right? That's first and foremost. I have seen some that will fund their 529s over their own retirement accounts, which we don't necessarily recommend, right? But there's some people that put it that much of a priority. I think the ones, the hesitancy of the people that don't do it is that they kind of create this idea that, well, I don't know where my kid's going to go to college, right? I don't know if it's going to be private. I don't know if it's going to be public. And that allows them to really start kicking that can down the road. And really, I think, a lot of families, that I talk to, I did in my personal family and the like, is that even if you're not maybe saving yet, maybe you don't have the ability to, right? That's always a factor,
Yep.
right? You don't have the ability to save. But even if not, you should develop and you should have an idea of the plan of the route that you want to send your kids off for school, whether you want to go the private route their whole life or whether you want to go the public route their whole life, all the way through college, right? And whatever that your philosophy is there, you're going to pass that down to your kids and you're going to tell them why. But if you choose to go the private route, right, you're going to have to spend a lot of your income or a lot of savings while they're growing up and going through private school, right? And that's why that's a really unique and wonderful thing about your plan is to say, okay, and we're going to go into the plans well plan because we're going to a private school. 10 of the or 15 of the ones in there we think would be great options, right? So you go that route, and maybe that takes more resources. Whereas vice versa, where you go the public route, you say, I'm a big believer in public education,
Mhm.
both on when they're children and when they're growing up, then you don't have to allocate as many resources, right?
Right.
The
Right.
problem becomes is when you don't really think about it, or you say, I'm a public believer, but then you switch to private, right? At the end, and you hadn't saved.
Right.
Then, student loans
Right.
come into the picture, right? So that's the problem. So that's really, I think it's just a lack of a discussion and a focus around those issues is why people tend to not start early.